Welcome to the Deep Dive. Our mission today, well, it's to unlock the secrets held within a technical document all about Xstore point-of-service software.
Sounds good.
Think of it as cracking the code to understand how this powerful retail tool really works.
Exactly. And we know diving into technical docs can feel a bit like exploring a maze, right?
Definitely.
But we're here to be your guides, pointing out the most fascinating pathways and the really useful knowledge.
Without getting lost in the weeds.
Hopefully not. We're aiming for those light bulb moments about this retail brain.
And this brain is packed. Incredible functionality from how everything looks on screen to the nuts and bolts of managing products, handling payments.
Even keeping track of your team. Yeah.
It's a whole universe of retail operations really contained within this software.
So consider this our express route, instead of you having to meticulously dissect every detail.
Which could take a while.
It could. We've done the heavy lifting, basically, to bring you the core concepts and configurations that reveal just how adaptable and, frankly, powerful Xstore point of service can be.
Okay, I'm ready. Ready to see what makes it tick.
Let's do it.
All right. Let's unpack the initial setup then, how a retailer can really make Xstore point of service their own. The document, it emphasizes these key configuration files. They sound like the foundational blueprints.
That's a great way to put it. Files like sysconfig.xml, menuconfig.xml, upchainconfig.xml, tablelayoutconfig.xml, and actionconfig.xml. They are absolutely fundamental.
So they control pretty much everything.
They dictate everything from the overall behavior, down to the specifics of menu layouts, the steps involved in different transactions. It's all in there.
Like a master control panel?
Kind of, yeah. With different dials for every aspect of the point of sale experience. And what's interesting is how this modularity makes the system easier to manage.
Easier to update too, I guess.
Right. You can tweak one area without necessarily messing up others.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting for me, this idea of a config path.
Ah, yes.
With global extensions, base features, and even settings specific to a single checkout terminal. How do these layers interact?
Okay, imagine it like a set of rules. Different levels of authority.
Okay.
Global extensions are like your company-wide policies, non-negotiable.
Right.
Base features are the standard operating procedures, and those workstation overrides.
Yeah.
They're like the specific tweaks you might make to just one cash register. Maybe it needs something special.
Oh, okay.
So the system pieces together the active configuration by checking these layers in a specific order.
And the most specific one wins.
Generally, yes. The workstation setting that takes precedence, it allows for both consistency across the brand, but also flexibility for individual stores or lanes.
That makes a lot of sense, like nested instructions digitally. And it's not just about function, is it? Retail is also about experience.
Oh, absolutely. The look and feel.
Especially at self-checkout, that's for sure.
Precisely. The document mentions using CSS files, specifically scoapp-custom.css for the self-checkout interface.
Right.
And what's fascinating is the level of visual control they offer. Things like RGB color variables.
So you can match branding exactly.
Exactly. Retailers can get it spot on, creating a more seamless, familiar experience, even when customers are doing it themselves. It's a detail, but it matters.
Yeah, perception is key. And beyond the screen, Xstore has to work with the hardware, right? Printers, dual monitors.
Absolutely. Those physical tools, the configuration supports a variety of hardware setups.
Okay.
And the system even lets you temporarily enable or disable specific devices.
Oh, that's useful for troubleshooting.
Incredibly useful. Printer goes down, you can quickly disable it on that terminal without bringing everything else to a halt. Or if you're upgrading hardware, flexibility.
Okay, makes sense. Let's move into the core of retail, managing what you actually sell. The doc talks about style IDs and dimension systems. What are those?
Okay, think of a style ID as the main product concept, like a specific type of t-shirt.
Got it. Classic crew neck.
Exactly. Then the dimension system, using tables like itmatum dimension type, and itmatum dimension value, defines all the variations.
Color, size.
Color, size, maybe material. So for that classic crew neck, dimensions are color, red, blue, green, and size, small, medium, large.
And that structure is key for inventory.
Vital for knowing exactly what you have and for showing the right options to the customer or the cashier. It builds that item grid you see.
So when someone asks for a blue medium t-shirt, boom, the system finds it. What about bundles, gift sets, multi-packs? The document mentions kit functionality.
Right, the kits. This lets you group individual items together as a single sellable product.
Okay.
The Troll Kit component mod table, think of it as the recipe book for the kits.
Oh, okay.
Along with the inventory kit components setting, controls how these bundles are managed.
And you can track inventory differently.
Exactly. That's the interesting part. You can choose track the kit as one unit or track the individual components inside it.
Ah, so a prepackaged basket versus a buy three, get one free deal.
Precisely. If it's prepackaged, track the kit. If it's a promo built from individual items, you probably want to track the components. The setting gives you that choice.
Clever. I also saw mentions of item images and a quick items tab. Visuals speeding things up.
Absolutely. Displaying pictures, especially on a dedicated screen for common items or in search results, big efficiency booster.
Helps new staff, maybe.
Or just anyone dealing with a huge catalog. Quickly identify the item, and the doc even specifies recommended image sizes.
Attention to detail.
It shows they're thinking about optimizing that visual experience for speed and clarity.
Okay, let's talk money. Pricing and discounts. The document mentions hierarchy-based pricing, using tables like lock pricing hierarchy. How does that work for businesses with multiple stores?
Right. Hierarchy pricing lets retailers set different prices for the same product depending on the location.
So different regions, different prices.
Could be region, district, even down to the individual store. These hierarchy tables define the relationships. The system uses that structure to find the correct price for that specific checkout.
Crucial for diverse markets, I imagine.
Definitely. Local competition, cost, regional promos, they all play a role.
And discounts. The document separates manual ones from automatic deals. What's the setup difference?
That's a key difference in execution. Manual discounts require staff intervention. They select and apply it.
Okay.
Automatic deals are pre-programmed. They trigger when conditions are met by quantity X by during this time frame.
Got it.
And the refresh promotion settings control how often the system updates its deal data, making sure the latest offers are live. Automation helps reduce errors, ensures consistency.
Taxes. Always fun. The document explains how rates are figured out, especially for send sales, where the item ships elsewhere.
Yeah, this highlights the need for location-aware tax logic. In store, it's usually the store address.
But shipping.
Tax might be based on the delivery address. The document details how tax rules are configured, tax router rule, tax group rule tables.
The tax brackets, too.
Tax brackets and tax bracket, yeah. And even setting up reasons for manual tax adjustments by a cashier. It's pretty comprehensive for handling sales tax complexity.
It also mentions tax exemptions, configured in sysconfig.xml, using reason codes. So control over why tax isn't paid.
Exactly. Retailers can specify if an exemption applies to all taxes on an item or just specific ones, and requiring a reason code from the reason code table adds accountability.
Good for audits.
Important for audits and compliance, definitely.
Okay, end of the transaction getting paid. The doc discusses setting up different tender types and who can handle them.
This control lets a business define exactly what they accept. Cash, credit, debit, gift cards, you name it.
And limit who uses what.
Right. The Tyndall-Druser settings table specifies which employee roles can access which tender types. Maybe all cashiers handle cash, but only managers process certain checks.
Like the check options mentioned, minimum amount, birthday prompt.
Exactly. And things like handling blind coupons, those without barcodes, are also configured there.
Cash handling sometimes involves rounding, right? Pennies disappearing.
Yeah, with physical currency changing, rounding rules are important. The currency rounding settings in sysconfig.xml cash total display and rounding mode dictate how the final cash total is calculated and shown.
Foreign currency has changed. That was interesting.
It is. Possible with the right setup and security permissions. Could be useful in tourist spots.
Makes sense. Let's shift to customer relationships. The document talks about connecting with customer engagement cloud services. For loyalty, customer info.
Gift registries, too. Yeah, this integration is key for that personalized shopping experience.
Real-time updates are mentioned.
Crucial. So loyalty points are right, purchase history is there, preferences noted, all happening during the transaction.
But securely.
Yes. Different security levels for accessing customer data, balancing personalization with privacy, features like loyalty card support, configured in sysconfig.xml, and the gift registry using the Kremen gift registry journal table, they all aim to build loyalty.
A smooth operation needs a well-managed team. How is employee setup and security handled?
Starts with the basics. Employee details in Hearst Employee, assigning them to stores via Hearst Employee Store.
And settings in sysconfig.xml.
Yep. Things like employee ID length, whether they can ring up your own sales self-sale allowance, stuff like that.
But the security groups sound really important.
They are. You define roles, then control access to specific parts of the software forms, even individual data fields. It uses defined objects, access types from SIC access types, config files like deoeditmapping.xml,
Granular control.
very, plus password security settings, expiration, history, and optional challenge questions add more layers.
Seems robust. Payroll and time cards were mentioned briefly, too.
Yes, not in huge detail, but it indicates configurations for managing that. Defining work codes and HRS work codes, setting overtime rules via payroll overtime rule, helps streamline admin tasks.
In today's world, online and in-store are merging. How does Xstore handle order fulfillment with Order Broker Cloud Service?
That integration is vital for omnichannel. Xstore talks to Order Broker to support various fulfillment methods. Fulfilling a whole order from one place or splitting it if items are stocked elsewhere, even fulfilling just part of an order line if needed, or a partial quantity. Flexible.
And collect and receive.
Car, yeah. That's an extension specifically for same-day in-store pickup of online orders, really focuses on those flexible customer options.
Digital receipts are big now, enabling email receipts.
Relatively simple, apparently. Adjust settings in rcptconfig.xml. Make sure the customer opts in via the carmparty.email rcpts flag.
Does it check the email address?
Yes, includes validation rules to make sure the format looks right.
What if an item's out of stock? Rain checks.
Rain checks are covered, a way to keep customers happy. sysconfig.xml has options for expiration dates, quantity limits, whether they work at any store.
Can you block them for certain items?
You can. There's an item level setting, itmitem.disallow rain check, to make specific products ineligible.
Self-checkout, we touched on it, but any specific settings highlighted?
Yeah, some sysconfig.xml parameters just for SKO, suppressing signature prompts for some payments, allowing removal of the last item added.
And customization.
Right, using table layout config.xml for screen layouts and CSS for the visual branding we talked about earlier.
For a deeper look under the hood, there's the Xstore Point of Service Management Console.
Right, a utility for monitoring and managing the system.
What can you see there?
Gives you a snapshot of cache status, data source status, plus debugging tools for menus, transactions, memory usage. There's a receipt debugger, too, for tracking down receipt issues.
And the transaction replicator?
Allows retrieving and sometimes reprocessing past transactions, useful for analysis or corrections.
Makes sense. In a global market, languages matter. How does Xstore handle internationalization?
It covers internationalization, IATN, localization, multilingual support. It uses locale-specific translation files.
Like translations fr.properties for French.
Exactly, translations language code .properties, and localmap.xml links these to the system. There's a search order for translations, and employees can even set their preferred language.
Tax calculations, again, integration with Vertex.
Yes, an alternative tax engine.
Yeah.
The document notes settings needed to connect, protocol, host, SSL certs.
And mapping data.
Yeah, mapping Xstore data to Vertex fields, defining item code types Vertex understands.
Electronic payments often use middleware. EFT-Link integration.
EFT-Link acts as that bridge between Xstore and payment processors.
Configuration needed.
Key steps outlined in files like configpath.properties, sysconfig.xml, authconfig.xml. It's about securely handling those payment requests and responses.
Address verification for shipping accuracy. QA's Experian integration.
Briefly mentioned, yeah. Helps ensure accurate shipping info. Configuration involves files like countryconfig-coas.xml, store locations available.xml, and system properties for manual or automatic checks.
Extension stores also came up. What are they?
Often for specific purposes, like pop-ups or specialized functions. Think of them as satellites.
With limitations.
Yeah, key differences from a main home store, especially around orders, customer accounts, inventory. Oversight usually stays with the home store.
Lastly, security SSL certificates, checks and updates.
Right. To ensure secure communication, Xstore checks for expiring SSL certs automatically at startup.
And updates.
There are update services mentioned, and a component called Xvironment plays a role in managing these security updates.
Wow. Okay. That really was a deep dive into Xstore's workings. It's actually remarkable how much configuration goes into every single aspect.
Absolutely. From the customer's first impression, that look and feel, right through to complex behind-the-scenes calculations for tax, inventory, almost everything can be fine-tuned.
Tailored to the specific retailer's needs.
Precisely.
And hopefully you, our listener, now have a much clearer map, let's say, of the key areas and configurations inside Xstore Point of Service.
Yeah, like peeling back the layers, you see the power and flexibility underneath.
This exploration should give you a good starting point, maybe to think about which of these areas are most relevant or interesting for you.
What stood out? What seemed particularly clever or maybe surprisingly intricate?
And maybe the big question to leave you with is this. In today's fast-moving retail world, how do businesses best use all this adaptability
All the power in software, like Xstore.
while still keeping operations efficient, manageable day to day? It's a fascinating balance, isn't it?
It really is. Technology versus practicality.
Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive.